My name is Tracy Matson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, behavior consultant. I'm trying to get this situated so the light's better. I live in Utah and I love doing these lives every week. So if this is your first time, welcome. And please, when in the chat, just put your name and where you're from, like state or country, so that I can enter you into the drawing that we'll do either 6:30, 6:37. We'll see how it goes. And you can also type in your training questions, behavior questions. I'll do my best to answer them for you, and we'll just kind of go from there. Have you guys all seen the new treat bags and the new branding and everything that Pupford has done? It's amazing, isn't it? I love it. So excited. Hey, Jenny. Okay, let me write Jenny down. I had slips, like I was using the same slips every week, and then I noticed it was taking me too long to find the slips. So now I just write them down, brand new every week, and then put them in a bowl and draw. So, okay, Indiana, Jenny, am I right? Are you Indiana? Okay, hopefully we'll have a few others jump on. I did it a half hour earlier just to help our East Coast people, and then next week I'll do it at either 6 or 6:30 for our West Coast people. Oh yay, I got it right. Yeah, after a while I start to memorize them, so I kind of memorize where everybody's from. So Jenny, since you're the only one on here, do you have any questions? Or I can try to think up a scenario. Oh, hey, Key. So one thing we've done in the past that has been sort of fun is I come up with a kind of a training scenario. It's usually a case that I have been working on or worked on with a client, but then I put it out to you guys to kind of problem solve, get you thinking, and then any right answers, you get an extra entry into the drawing. So if we don't have a lot of people jump on and right at first with questions, we can do that. I just have to go back through and see what I've worked on for the past week. Ooh, I actually might have a good one. I don't want to make it too hard. But I also like to get everybody thinking, because then it helps you with your own dogs or your own cases. And sometimes it's good to kind of work through these together. So, sorry, there's a glare. I'm gonna move kind of like this. Okay. So Key, I have a really good friend that drives truck, and he often drives up through Canada and Alaska, and I want to go so bad, just road trip. And the only problem is he's usually gone for 2 weeks when he does those, and there is no way I can take 2 weeks off work. And I have 3 dogs and a cat that I would never leave for 2 weeks. Okay, so Key, you're working on barking. Barking in what context? So I actually, oh, hey, Gloria. I actually worked with a client yesterday on barking, and these dogs were barking at the fence. So their backyard. Gloria, Oregon, right? So anyway, their dogs were barking at the fence because their backyard backs up into a big field, but it's also a hiking trail. So at any time during the day, there could be bikes, there could be dogs, there could be people, and they have 4 dogs that just. Oh, actually, Gloria, you're right on time. We just started at 5:35. So, hey, Renee. So I'll put Brian down because I'm assuming Brian's coming. So okay. So Judy, or Jenny, sorry, I will come and answer your question about cats. Let me finish this barking one. So one thing we did is all of the dogs, okay, barking at any strangers, fenced backyard, inside house, windows are covered. Okay, so you've done all the environmental management stuff. So this is what I had them, this is what we did with them. Sorry, it's like really windy up here. Okay, so we went to the backyard, and there's usually like one or two of the dogs that'll start barking, and they'll get all of the other dogs barking. So what we did is we taught the dogs a flight cue. And what I mean by flight cue is it's like an extra, it's like a emergency recall, so to speak. But it's a word like we used party time, and party time to the dog had to mean best party and treats ever. So while we were teaching this to the dogs yesterday, I used Pupford salmon treats because haven't met a dog yet that doesn't love them. Well, maybe I've met like one dog that doesn't like anything, so didn't like the salmon. But for these dogs, it was like super high value, really good. And then I think they're gonna use hot dogs. So we taught them this flight cue, and if you guys want to email me, or Key, if you want to email me, I'm going to put my email in the chat. I will send you my flight cue handout. But anyway, it's kind of like an emergency recall, and it teaches the dog. So like they're barking at the fence, and then we'll say party time, and then the dog knows like, oh, I'm going to turn and run this way, and I'm getting bacon or chicken or hot dogs. But it has to be a treat that the dog never gets any other time. So it's that extra special, like, oh, I really want to bark, but hey, I'm getting filet mignon right now, so I'm going to go this way. So we teach them to turn the other way. And usually, I don't have a dog learn it really, really well after just the first session. But right as we were like wrapping things up, the dogs ran to the fence and started barking. And normally I do recommend doing this on leash, like training it on leash first so that you can kind of help the dog to choose to turn and go the other way. But I kind of took a chance and I said, Harley, party time. And he turned around, and I had a handful of salmon treats, and I'm like, let's go. We're going to have a party. And I threw the salmon treats in the grass. And he's usually one of the instigators. And he did. He flipped around, ran. Luckily, the owners were like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. So it can totally work. So if they're barking at strangers, there's another one that I had a client do that was ingenious. So she recently moved in with her boyfriend, and so now they have 2 dogs that live in the same yard. And the dogs would bark at anybody that goes by. So she made this cute little poster that says, meet our dogs. We're trying to be good neighbors. And then she put out a bucket of treats and says, if the dogs are barking, please just like these are their names, and you can use it. Oh, I love it. Cheetos. Yeah, you can use cookies, Cheetos, like whatever you want. Um, but anyway, so as an example, they could say like, "Hey, party, quiet," and then the dog's like, "Oh, I heard my name. That stranger knows my name." And then when they're quiet, they toss a cookie over the fence. So, and it's worked out really well. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, but I kind of like the flight cue, and then I take the rewards. And you can do this with multiple dogs as long as they don't fight over food or resource guard. These dogs don't. So anyway, I throw the handful, um, and I throw it out in the grass. So then it gives the dog something else to do because they're sniffing around. They're like foraging out the food, and it keeps them busy to find food. And then they don't even care about what's going on at the fence. So, I mean, yeah, they'll have to keep consistency and keep doing it. But this dog was doing it great. And a few times while I was there, Harley was playing with the other dog, and so I wanted to see if it was strong enough to call him out of a recall. And I did do this on leash, but I was pretty confident that I would be able to get him to turn and run the other way. And it worked. Like every time I said party time, the dog would stop playing, and then turn and run the other way with me, and then I had the treats. So, hey, Smitha. So yeah, it was actually pretty cool. It worked so well that I wish I had have filmed it, but of course I didn't. I often leave my phone in the car when I'm working with people because then it's not distracting. Like now it keeps buzzing. I have to make sure. The only reason I look at it is because I want to make sure that one of the neighbors isn't telling me that one of my dogs is out. Okay, so that's what I would do with the barking, especially for strangers. If you're already managing your environment and you've got your windows blocked and everything like that, then you could start doing the engage disengage because we're going to do that next time. So that's starting at a distance. And as soon as a stranger goes by, you want to start at a distance to where your dog can just notice them and not bark. Because our goal is to keep them under threshold. So you start at that distance and they look at the stranger and don't bark, then you click treat. And I do use a clicker for this. I use a clicker a lot for everything, but some people don't really want to use it. And if they don't, this is one that I kind of encourage them to use the clicker because even though the clicker is not an attention getter, it kind of does get their attention. They're like, oh, I just heard the click. That means I get a reward. So it helps them to hear the click and then like look away and look at you for like, where's my treat? So that's why I use the clicker. So then you can start working on, so with this same dog, we started doing a little bit of the engage, disengage. We're going to do more of it next time. But we started like right up by the house. So it's a far enough distance. And then we will slowly work our way to the fence to where the dogs can just stand at the fence and see somebody coming by and not react. That's our end goal. So, okay. Jenny, Buddy keeps going after my cats. He's playing, but gets a little rough. I tell him leave it, but he won't listen and keeps going after them until I finally have to kennel him. Okay, so Jenny, I would use the flight cue. I would use the same thing because if Buddy's not listening to you, then that means that chasing the cats is much more rewarding than listening. So you want to choose a really high value treat that Buddy never gets any other time. So I'll use bacon or gizzard. And they only get it when I have a word in German that I use with my dogs. I don't want to say it because they're all laying right here. But when I say that word, they come running because they're like, oh my gosh, we get bacon or gizzard. Like something that they don't ever really get. So Then you have dog chase cat. And I would start out with, so usually what I do when I go to a client's home, I always have a water bottle. So I take my water bottle and put it on the ground. The dog will go up to sniff it. And right when they go up to sniff it, I'll say, party time. And then I throw the treats behind them. So it gets them to like turn and go the other way. And you can do it on a leash. If usually in a house, I don't really always have to leash a dog. If when you're practicing outside, I for sure would. But start it with the leash so that as you say party time, you can kind of gently help your dog make the right choice, and then run with them away from the cat and then give them that super special treat. Now, whatever that is for Buddy, you may have to do a preference test, which just means play around with different reinforcers and find out what Buddy likes better than anything. So I had a dog in puppy class once that did not like my high value treats, which at the time I switch off. So it was either salmon or rabbit. But instead, this dog went crazy over milk bones, like the boring old milk bones. So we kind of had to switch it around. And we were having the dog leave the salmon treats and then get the milk bone. So it depends on what everybody likes as far as a really, really good reward. So it can be chicken, it can be cheese, it can be hot dogs, it can be whatever. And the only time Buddy gets it is when you use your flight cue, because it has to be strong enough for him to want to turn and come away from the cat. Then after he gets the reward, I would redirect him. So it's like, okay, here you're going to do a lick mat, or you're going to do a snuffle mat, and you're going to leave the cat alone. My dogs will, hey, Willie, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's like standing, staring at the door. What are you doing, buddy? Anyway, he was just kind of like, it almost looked like he was standing in the corner, but he's not in trouble. So I don't know why he was just standing, staring at the corner. So yeah, you want it to be strong enough to get him away from the cats. So my dogs will sometimes chase my cat for fun, but I do have several places where she can get away. I really doubt my dogs are kind of scared of the cat, so they wouldn't do anything even if they caught her. I mean, they lay on the couch together. It's just that sometimes when she starts to run, they'll chase. But I have a baby gate that blocks off the upstairs, so the cat can jump over the gate and go upstairs. She can go. This is her condo behind me. This cage. That's where her food and litter box are kept, so she can jump in there and get away. So I always want to have a good place for the cat to go to get away from the dogs. But if I don't remember who was here last week. But if you remember last week, there were a few times during the live that I had to ask my dogs to stop chasing the cat. And basically, I'll just say, hey, guys, don't chase the cat. And then I just call them away, give them a treat, and then they'll go do their thing. So a lot of times it's when the cat starts running, because dogs like the chase game, and so they love to chase things that move. But that's what I would do, is just teach that flight cue, which just basically means turn 180 degrees and have the best party and treats ever. Oh, and you know what? I've used enough as well. So I will use okay, say my dogs are barking outside, and they love to bark at the neighbor when he's mowing the lawn or when they're out doing yard work. So I will, if they start barking, I'll stick my head out and I'll say, guys, that's enough. And I have paired that's enough with a treat. So they know when they hear that's enough, which I'm surprised. Oh, they're all asleep. Willie, what are you doing? Now I think you're chewing on something you're not supposed to. Come here, dude. You guys want to say? Come say hi. Come here. Oh, there's my big boy. So this little one's been chewing on stuff. So he got an enrichment box today. He got to shred it and tear it up, and now I'm not sure what he's over there chewing, but he's chewing something, huh? You chewing something? Okay, you go be a good boy. Hey, Maddie. So anyway, I will use that's enough, and then I'll redirect. So you can pair that with, so key, it's going to be the same thing where instead of like party time, you're going to say, enough, and then have that word mean a treat's coming. So then she stops, or your dog, she stops, comes to you for the treat, and then you can redirect her to go to her mat, go to her place, go chew on a toy, or go do something else. So then you interrupt, reward, and then redirect, if that makes sense. But yeah, you can do the same thing with enough. Oh, Gloria, that's a good one. What about demand barking in the kitchen when you're trying to make dinner? So I ignore. I will ignore them. However, I've got mine pretty well trained now, and to be honest, I don't cook very much, hardly at all. But if I'm in there making a smoothie, or I'll have like yogurt and fruit or whatever, and I've taught my dogs to just sit and watch. And if they sit and watch, then when I'm done, they get rewarded for it. So if you're trying to make dinner and your dog's demand barking, I would, there's a couple things you can do. You can put your dog in a crate so that he or she can't see you making dinner, but make sure that you put a toy or a chew item in the crate as well, so that it's not a punishment. So sometimes I'll give the dog something else to do. So if I know that, okay, I'm going to be making dinner or doing whatever, so I'm going to give these guys a bully stick on their mat. And so they're going to be busy doing their thing, and they're not even going to be paying attention to me. But then gradually I will start working on, okay, you can come in the kitchen, but you have to sit and just watch and be quiet. And then if you're quiet and you don't bark and you don't jump on the counter, then I'll give you a reward at the end right before I eat. So I actually have a baby gate. This is backwards. I don't think you can be able to see it. Anyway, I have a baby gate that goes into the kitchen. I mainly got it because Maddie was on prednisone for a long time, so she was always hungry, and she learned how to open the cabinet doors. And one time I came home and she had eaten 6 bags of treats. So I put up a baby gate just so when I'm not home, she can't get in the kitchen. So depending on what I'm doing, sometimes I'll just shut them out of the baby gate, and then they'll sit there at the gate and watch. And as long as they don't bark and they just sit and watch and are calm, they get rewarded. And you can do that. Like demand barking, you can ignore, because if it never gets reinforced, it will finally extinguish itself because it never pays off. And then I would catch your dog like being quiet. As soon as they're like quiet for a second or 2 seconds, then you could walk over, good quiet, give them a treat or something like that. So catch them being calm, catch them being quiet, reward that, and then ignore the barking. And then you can always redirect to something else. Like, okay, I've had it. I want you to go to a mat, and here's a stuffed frozen Kong that you can chew on. Or I'm going to send you to your crate with a lick mat. That'll give you something to do while I'm cooking dinner. So yeah, there's a couple different things, but that's what I would do. Oh, okay. So Okay, so Key, are you doing enough like in place of the clicker? Because enough to me is like a cue. Like, okay, that's enough. Stop barking. Um, so I use it as an interrupter. So they're barking, barking, barking. I'll say that's enough, and then they'll stop, and that's when I click, because I click when they're quiet. And as soon as they hear that's enough, they know, oh, there's a treat coming. And so they'll stop barking. That's when I click or mark or say yes. So either click or yes is my marker. And then I follow that up with a treat. And then, yeah, Key, if you want to also, when you email me, ask me for the engage, disengage handout, I can send you that as well. Oh, let's see. Jenny, Buddy chases the water stream and jumps to get the water bottle. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. I'm just going back to read. So what I'm trying to figure out, what do you mean by Buddy chases the water stream and jumps to get the water bottle? Or is that a totally different situation that's not related to chasing the cats? I just want to make sure that you're like not trying to throw a water bottle full of water at Buddy, because that could scare him, and he could associate that with the cat, or you, and we don't want him to have a negative association with either. So explain, if you can explain that a little bit more, what you mean by chases the water stream, then I will answer that. Let's see. I have heard about the effectiveness of rewards being available behind the owner. Yeah, I've never done that. I mean, so I do a thing with reactive dogs when I'm out walking them sometimes, and it's called a get behind. So I'll have the dog like go around and sit behind me. So it just kind of puts them in a place of safety, and then I'll fast feed treats behind me to the dog while they're staying behind. But other than that, I haven't really heard of rewards being behind the owner. You might have to explain that a little bit more to me as well. Yeah, and lick mats. I wish I had invented lick mats. That is like the greatest invention ever. Yeah, so Jenny, if you have a baby gate up between your kitchen and living room, I would put your dog behind the baby gate and then ignore him. Then if he stops barking for like 2 to 3 seconds, then you can hurry and like, oh, good job, good quiet, toss him a treat. Like intermittently, when he's quiet, treats happen. When he's barking, you ignore. Let's see. I tore the cartilage in my knee, so I haven't been able to take him to training. Yeah. So if you're injured, make sure that you are doing probably extra enrichment to tire your dog out. So like snuffle mats, flirt poles. You don't need to move around very much for a flirt pole. Enrichment boxes. Enrichment boxes work really well at my house because my dogs love to shred cardboard. So I just, like today, Willie was chewing on something he wasn't supposed to. And so I gave him a box, and I just put a little bit of peanut butter inside and put in like 3 pieces of kibble, just so it would make noise and shake around. And that entertained him for a good long while, because he was first trying to figure out how to get in there. And then Jade went to help and stuck her whole head in the box. Then Willie started like ripping the box to get into what's inside, and that's what we want. So we want them to be able to rip the box, shred the box, and then when he was done, he laid down and took a nap. So It's something super cheap you can do. I just save most of my boxes. Um, every time I get a Pupford order, I save the box. And the one that I used today was actually a box of milk bones that somebody had given my dogs. And so it was an empty box. So I used that. So you can use cereal boxes, cracker boxes, anything like that. Okay, let's see. Gloria, I've tried distraction, refocus with toys, choose. It works some, but sometimes I think he smells something and doesn't make much difference where in the house he is. He wants some. Um, yeah, and so it's kind of one of those things where you just have to keep being um, persistent. And I mean, if you've tried everything like distractions, refocus, everything, I would just put him in a crate. Like put him in a crate, give him a stuffed Kong or something that's going to take a while for him to get through. You could make a lick mat in advance and then put it in the freezer. And then when it's time to make dinner, just put him in a crate with a lick mat or a stuffed frozen Kong and let him do that while you make dinner. And then that just kind of removes him from that whole situation. And then you don't have to worry about him, barking. Okay, Smitha. Okay, my dog is still very naughty. I call Jade naughty every day. And gets mad at me when we are in the yard, which she thinks it is her kingdom, and she mouths at me when she does not like what I'm doing. Getting back inside or doing something and not playing with her. Okay, so Smitha, how old is your dog? Let's see. You asked me to put her in a crate. Crate is inside, so a lot of times once she's very upset, she will mouth me all the way. Oh, Jenny, sorry, I'm jumping around. You said use a water bottle. Oh my gosh, am I losing it? I don't even remember talking about a water bottle. Are you talking about tonight or a different? Did I say water bottle? Because I don't even remember now. I'm trying to remember where the whole water bottle conversation came from. Maybe I'm like really losing my mind. Or did I tell you that in another one for like an enrichment toy? Okay, Smith, I will come back to yours. But yeah, in previous lives, I've talked about getting a plastic water bottle and putting treats in it and putting some holes in, and then the dog gets to shred it and roll it around and figure out how to get the treats to come out. Oh, I know what I said. Duh, sorry. Water bottle. So this is just a prop. So I will usually even close it. So, okay, now I thought I was losing it. Now I don't feel so bad. Okay, yes. This is just a prop because mine probably has smells from my dogs or whatever. So I just put it down and it's a new thing for the dog to go sniff. And I just use it to redirect the dog's attention, and then I teach the flight cue. So you could use anything. You could put down a book. You could put down something that the dog's just going to go sniff or like, oh, what's that? And go see what it is. So yeah, I was just using the water bottle as a prop. But you don't have to use the water bottle. Use anything. So yeah, I totally forgot. I was thinking in my mind, little plastic water bottles. And so in my mind, like visually, I just wasn't seeing it. So sorry. But yeah, it's just a prop. You don't even have to use that. Okay. Oh, Smitha, I do want to know how old your dog is. Because if she's being mouthy, I probably have talked to you about the 3 strike rule that I use. Um, so yeah, it's won't work really well if you're outside and then you want to go inside, or you have to take her inside and then she's mouthy all the way in. Have you tried like doing a flirt pull with her outside? Because that is something that she can chase, grab, play tug, but you're away from the edge of the toy because you're holding on to the stick. So that way you can keep your dog away from you and playing with the toy. And then I use this also as a way to teach drop it. So I'll do, drop it, give him a treat, and then I take possession of the toy. And then I let the dog bit, which might be really good for your dog. So you hold it and you wait for them to sit and wait again. And then you throw it out and say go. So it's actually good because you're amping them up and then they have to settle back down. And then when they're settled, then you're going to throw the toy out again, and then they get to amp up again. But it might be something really good to get some of that energy out. Um, and the only other thing that I can think of is like if actually I'm going to scroll and see if you answered my question. Okay, she's 2. Oh, Brian, you're out setting mouse traps. Good for you. I hate mice. You should see my house. I have them all over. Luckily, I haven't had mice in a couple years since I got a cat. But oh yeah, I hate those nasty little creatures. Um, okay. Sorry, my ADHD is taking me in a zillion directions. I scrolled down to look and see how old Smith's dog was, and then I started seeing things. Okay, let me get back to where I was. Okay, so 2 years old. So it's not like she's a puppy anymore. And another thing you could do is if she starts getting amped up and you want to redirect her away from you, I like to scatter feed. So I will often use this to redirect barking or biting, and I'll take a handful of treats and throw them in the grass or the snow or the gravel, wherever I'm at, I will chuck them somewhere and then redirect the dog to like doing some nose work, using their nose to find the treats, and it keeps them busy. So you could do something like that as well. If you know you're going to be doing like a big project out in the yard and you know your dog is going to be naughty and get mouthy with you, I would honestly just leave her in the house. So that way she can't like practice that behavior. But I mean, we all like our dogs to be with us in the yard. So I have a lot of toys in my yard. And so even if I'm doing yard work, like I'll throw the ball for my dogs or I'll, chuck treats into the lawn and let them go hunt. And so they're busy while I'm doing my thing. So we're still like engaging and interacting, but I can keep them busy hunting for treats and I can like do my thing. Um, okay. Gertie, have you ever felt bad for not getting stuff done, and is it normal? Oh, yes. I feel bad almost every day because I did not accomplish as much as I wanted to accomplish. And it is totally normal. And especially if you have a puppy, because they're a lot of work. And then, in my opinion, teenager adolescent dogs are um, even more work. So, yes, I'll give you an example. 2 of my dogs have to take their therapy dog test on Saturday, and probably neither one of them are going to pass because guess who hasn't been diligently training this week with her dogs? Me. So sometimes when I get home, it's like, okay, I am all dog trained out. I do not want to do anymore. So I'm going to just not do it. And so now we have basically one day. And so I'm pretty sure Jade might pass. I'm pretty sure Willie won't. If he does, it'll be like pure miracle that he does because we're still working on stay and leave it. But yeah, you're probably, if you're like me, I expect a lot out of myself. And then when I don't get everything done that I wanted to, then yeah, I feel bad and like, oh God, I wasted this whole day. I didn't do anything. And in reality, yeah, I hung out with my dogs and we didn't train, but we had fun and we did other stuff. So, and I worked. So yeah, it is totally normal. Don't beat yourself up for it. I'm sure I know I'm guilty of doing it. So, um, it seems like when I have all this energy, I'll make my list of stuff to do. And then the next day, so I'm not a morning person. So if I have a day off in the morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to stay in bed all day, which of course I'm not going to do because I have animals that want to be fed. And I'm not the kind that could just lay in bed all day. I would get antsy and have to go do something. But yeah, or I wait and leave my list until I come home from work. And by that time, I'm brain dead and I cannot possibly do one more thing. So totally normal. But thanks for posting that because stuff like that, when you think, oh, like, am I normal? Is this crazy? Am I just lazy? Am I a bad person? But it kind of lets people say, you know what? I am in the same boat and you are not alone and don't feel bad. So I can honestly tell you that. Okay. Facebook user, if you want to give me your name, I will enter you in the drawing. Polly, 10.5-month-old beagle, now on puppy food. When do I switch to adult? I mean, I would ask your vet, honestly, but I had a dog that was 8 months, and I fed him his puppy food until it ran out. So probably by the time he was about 9 or 10 months old, I switched him over to adult food just so he could be on the same food that my dogs were on, and he did fine on it. So I have to get this picture. So Jade and Willie are laying on the dog bed together, which is actually super cute because Jade usually won't share her bed with anybody. So the fact that she let Willie come and lay down by her is like pretty freaking amazing. So yeah, to answer your question, I mean, I would ask your vet to be sure. And if you've had fat beagles before, you can either feed less or just switch over to adult dog now. So, okay, Anita. Hello, Anita. Oh, and I need to write. Gertie, remind me where you're from because I don't remember where you're from. And Anita. Anita, are you staying safe? Because you're in Florida, right? You're from Florida. So, give us an update on hurricane. And I already forgot the name of the hurricane. I was just looking it up yesterday. I can't remember. I know it starts with an I, doesn't it? Like, I could look it up real quick, but you probably know. Anyway, yeah, stay safe. Keep your animals safe. And did you have to evacuate or because I read an article today where they were telling people to evacuate and then some people were like, I'm not leaving, I'm just gonna hunker down here. Which that's what I would do. Even though I have an old house and it would totally blow away. It would be like Dorothy in Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I can't even remember. Wizard of Oz. Sorry. That would be my house. And so I probably would stay here with the dog. But if I could take all my animals and go, I would probably leave. So anyway, stay safe and like give us an update. I'm kind of curious. I've never been in a hurricane. So um okay, Willow. Hi Willow. Let me write you down and then I'll answer your question. Whoa. Okay. My dog is reactive to other dogs when I don't have treats with me. Is verbal praise and pets enough? That's an awesome question. It depends on the dog. Um, so if you're walking a reactive dog, and this is easy for me to say because I do this for work every day, so I rarely go out of my door without having a treat pouch on. And especially if I know I'm going to be walking a dog that is reactive, I want to make sure I have treats. However, if you're out and you don't have treats, it really depends on the dog. So if your dog is super motivated by praise and treats and loves that more than anything, then perfectly fine. If the dog's like, yeah, well, you don't have treats and I could care less about whether you pet me or praise me or not, so I'm going to keep barking, then it's probably not enough. So it does depend on the dog. I actually had a dog the first dog that I started to train for search and rescue. He wasn't super toy motivated, and the way that we train the dogs is they hunt and search and search and search, because when they find the person, their ball comes out, and these dogs have such high drive that they will hunt for an hour just to play with their Kong. But I had a dog that wasn't really toy motivated, so he didn't care about that. However, he loved to like get in your lap and get lots of praise. So we switched over to from a toy that he wasn't really that interested in to like getting down on the ground and giving him tons of praise and affection. So yeah, it can be, but it depends on the dog. If you know your dog is reactive, I would just make sure you have treats. The other reason I would have treats is because if you have a loose dog running up to you and your dog, I like to have treats to chuck at the other dog. So it's called a treat bomb. And I throw it right in the other dog's face. I aim like right for the nose. And so the other dog will like stop, like, oh my gosh, it's raining salmon treats. And 95% of the time, the other dog will stop to find the treats and give you a chance to move out of the way or go the other way. So yeah, I would encourage you to use treats or take treats. But yes, if you don't have them, it's better than nothing. But again, depending on your dog, it might not be enough. And I think distance is going to make a difference too. If the dog's right up to you and your dog is like totally going ballistic, then it's time to get out of there anyway. That's when I would do a flight cue or like, okay, let's go. We're going to go this way, and just get out of there. So distance would factor into that as well. Yeah, so Anita, I there's only a certain kind of water bottle that I will use because I don't want the dog to get the plastic, but some of the harder ones that can actually cut them. So, and I don't let them. I poke holes in it so they can chew on it and get the crackle. But then they roll it around and it has holes in it so the treats can fall out. If it looks like the dog is like ingesting it, I take it away. They're just like, no, you can't do water bottles if you're going to eat them. Yeah, Jenny, I remembered that now that, yeah, I'm glad I'm like, oh yeah, water bottle. For some reason I was thinking plastic. So Brian, tell us about your latest, why are you setting out mouse traps? Oh, you guys, I could tell you stories about my winter of getting infested with mice. I've lived up here for 30 years. Yes, I live in farming country. I know that there are mice, and they are perfectly welcome to live outside, but they are not allowed to come in my house. And one year, I swear I had a family that invited all their cousins, aunts and uncles, great cousins, and they all decided to come and live in my house one winter. And it was, hey, you guys, I don't have anything. I don't have anything for you. Um, it was awful, like awful. I was on the table screaming. I had to call my neighbor. My neighbor and his wife came over. Um, he was going to flush them out, and then I was going to let my pit bulls, like, okay, this is what you guys were bred to do. So when we flush them out, Jade, I'm working. Sorry, I can't play with you right now. Here, come here. Okay, you gotta be low though. So I thought, oh, this will be great enrichment. I'll let my dogs chase the mice and grab them, and then I can put them outside. Okay, Jake, if you're not gonna hold still, you gotta be down. Sorry. So the first mouse that my dog saw, they hightailed it out, and I go to see where they are. They have all crammed themselves in the crate, and they're looking out like, is it safe to come out? My 3 big bad pit bulls were terrified of one little mouse. So that's why I have a cat, and I do use mouse traps. So, okay. Oh, Smitha, thanks. I probably have 5 water bottles. In fact, I have, one of my favorites is I have the red Pupford water bottle, but I like to decorate my water bottles with stickers, so it really didn't come like this. Oh, look, there's my Pupford sticker. But they sell their water bottle too, which I have one of those, and I have stickers all over it too. I keep that one in my car so that I always want a water bottle when I go to work. So the one healthy thing I do is I drink water all day long. And so I have water bottles in almost every room. And then every morning I go to the gas station and fill them up with crushed ice, and then just drink water bottle. But yeah, I like decorating with stickers. You should see my computer. My computer's decorated with stickers, all my water bottles. Some of my instrument cases have stickers all over them. So, Kirsten. Hi, Kirsten. Let me write you down. So far, we haven't had any of our new people come back that were here last week. Last week we had like 4 new people. So I was hoping that they would come back, but maybe with the earlier time they weren't able to, or they didn't want to hear me talk for an hour, which I can't blame them. Okay, Willow. I was planning on bringing home a 1-year-old dog who's a German Shepherd, and he mouths and doesn't have good feet manners. Would they be an okay project to work with? I'm trying to help the dog to do better with his manners so he can get adopted. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's how I started. I started when I adopted one of the Michael Vick dogs, and I had to work with a trainer for 2 years. And just from working with her, I saw this whole new way of training, because before that, I was one of those people using shock collars and choke collars, prong collars, like stuff like that. So then to get experience, I started to volunteer at our local rescue, and I would go teach the dogs leash manners, teach them to not jump up, and just teach them basics to get them adoptable. And that, honestly, then that turned into a part-time job and then a full-time job for 3 years. So as any of you know, that if you do rescue, you know that it's really hard. It's hard emotionally. It's you very rarely get a break. I mean, my phone was on all the time, and I was dealing with rescue stuff at 10:30 at night sometimes, weekends. So I just kind of like needed a mental break from that, and and then just like went out and started doing my own training full time. So yes, I think that's a great project to work on mouthiness. Anything you can teach a dog to make them more adoptable would be awesome. So not so mouthy. And one thing you can do with a mouthy, and especially a German Shepherd, if this dog has ball drive, you can teach him to carry a ball. So you could like bounce it or throw it up, and if he'll catch it. So my German Shepherd, once he had a ball in his mouth, good luck getting it out because he was not going to give it up. But then, like people could pet him, he could meet people, and he had a ball in his mouth, so he wasn't going to be mouthy. Um, Stuff like that. So yes, that would be a great project. If you're planning on bringing the dog home to like foster, just do a meet and greet first and make sure that dog gets along with your dogs. Because we don't want any like dog fights, of course. So I would do a meet and greet first. There were a lot of dogs that I really wanted to bring home and work with, but I just couldn't because of that dog's skills with other dogs. Hey, Willie, please don't chew that. You're on a chew. It's like chewing everything today. So I didn't bring him home just because I didn't want to put my own dogs in danger. And plus I was at that time I was at the rescue more than I was home. So I just spent a lot of time with him at the rescue. But yes, if you can bring this dog home safely and teach it to be better, that would be awesome because then the dog's going to get adopted faster. Smitha, I did try flirt pole recently, but she thinks it is meant for throwing like a ball. Oh. Yeah, then you could just go back to ball playing and just throw the ball. And you sometimes when I do that, Willie, hang on, I'm gonna take you guys with me so I can go get him a toy. Because he's chewing up everything. Hang on, it's gonna get dark for a second. Okay, Mr. Wills, what are we gonna get you? How about this and this? Here, here's your toys. Come here. Let's chew this instead of my stuff, okay? No, not for you guys. It's for Willie. See, even in a trainer's house, this is what real life is like. It's every day doing enrichment, trying to redirect. And Willie's about 2 now. He's probably just a little under 2. Good boy. Good boy. So I got him something to chew on, just so he'll leave my other thing alone. So when I do ball playing with dogs, I will often have 2. So I throw one, they bring it back, and then they have to drop it before I'll throw the next one. But you could do that as well. And I'm curious as to like if you let me grab my cat toy and kind of show you. Oh, Willie came running because, oh no, you don't get to play with this. So if you put this on the ground, dude, this is not for you. This is not a dog toy. He goes crazy over flirt poles, by the way. But if you just like have it on the ground and make it move and like get it, and have your dog like get it, and then move it over and keep moving it so that, I mean, you might try that. Okay, it's all gone. All gone. No more flirt pole. It's all gone. Go get your toy. If you can try to get your dog engaged with that and then start to move it so he chases it, you could try that. Sometimes some dogs will just immediately chase, and other dogs won't. So I kind of have to, get them going, teach them how to do it, like make the toy come alive, And then if they go to sniff it, then you make it move. So then they start chasing it. So here, dude. No, Jade, this one's not yours. This is Willie's. Here. The flirt pole's all gone. I'm sorry. Here, you can have this. You can chew on that. Okay. And yeah, if she just doesn't like the flirt pole, then try scatter feeding. Hello, Cindy. Cindy, I can't. You're from Florida too, aren't you? You haven't been on in a while, and so I either want to say Florida or New York, but I think Florida. Anyway, if you are in Florida, we hope you're safe and can stay safe. Okay, Willow, Daisy's small dog is getting better with potty training. There have been less messes. Yay! Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, and Joey's doing great. Love to hear that. That's good. Willow, I feel bad for always setting myself up for failure with my schoolwork, and I'm trying to fix it. Yeah, there's some areas of life that I just suck at, and I feel like I fail every day. So, as an example, because I eat, sleep, dream dog training and dog behavior, and I'm kind of a geek about it, every day I try to do something like not dog training. So, read a book that's not about dogs. Actually watch a movie and not just have a movie playing while I'm answering Pupford questions in the Facebook community, because I'll just have the noise going in the background. So yeah, and then there are some days when like I'm in bed, I'm like, oh crap, I didn't do this today, I didn't do this today, I didn't do this today. And so yeah, don't beat yourself up over it. It happens to everybody. Bill, you get your dog in 8 days, Molly. Awesome. I'm so excited. Oh yes, Ian, Hurricane Ian. Let's see, Bill, were you here? Oh, you're from Oklahoma, right? Welcome back. So 8 days and your life will never be the same as you know it. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun with a new puppy. So yes, you belong to the Facebook community. You can always come here and ask questions. Me and some other trainers try to get on every day and answer questions. So you've got this. It'll be awesome. Yes, I knew it started with an I though, so I was right. Hurricane Ian. I kept wanting to say Ivan, but that's already a past hurricane. Like they've already had Ivan. Ivan is still coming back to hit the Carolinas. Yeah, I knew that it was going up to the Carolinas because I have friends up there. And so, but I thought it was hitting Florida first and then going up to the Carolinas. So yeah, I don't do, in fact, just yesterday, we've had some winds here. And since my house is so old, sometimes when the wind blows a lot, I'll have siding blow off. So one of my clients came over yesterday to secure some siding that was getting loose. So I don't do well in wind because every time the wind blows, I get anxiety because I'm thinking, oh crap, I'm losing shingles, I'm losing siding, what's blowing around. So I couldn't live in hurricane country because I would probably have a meltdown. But I just want you guys to stay safe. Keep your animals safe. I know, Willow, you haven't been in for a while, so we're glad that you're back. Let's see, she doesn't like, so are you talking about the German Shepherd doesn't like eating treats unless it's chicken? Have you tried the salmon? Have you tried the Pupford salmon treats? because I would say 98% of the dogs that I work with love the salmon treats. You could also use something like cut up hot dogs. It's cheaper than chicken, and just cut them up in really small pieces. So they're not getting like great big chunks of it. Okay. Oh, Jake just stole Lily's toy. And they're running. Okay, Gloria. Gloria, I'm writing your name down right now. I can't remember where you're from, though. If you could tell me that, and then I can enter you in. Okay, my Ruby, Havany, 16 weeks, gets really excited when she sees my son and jumps and lunges and is so excited she pulls on the leash. Yes. So what I do is I like to teach a sit and a wait. And so this is what you'd want to do. Have your son, if Ruby is at the end of the leash and pulling and lunging, have your son just stop and stand there. And so your son's not giving her attention until she's like sitting and being calm. So I'll often put a dog in a sit and I'll say, wait. And when they show, for puppies, like a half a second to a second, when they show a little bit of impulse control, then I say, okay, go say hi. And then you can work up to having Ruby sit and wait as your son approaches. If she breaks, then he backs up. This is how we teach a sit wait for the Canine Good Citizen. So basically, I put him in a sit, tell him wait, and then your son can like approach. This will be your son. Here's Ruby. Here's your son. And there's an imaginary you right here. So you're by your dog and you're saying, okay, sit, wait. And then your son like takes one step closer. And if Ruby waits, then you can say, okay, go say hi. And then you can release her to go say hi. If she's so excited and she starts pulling towards your son, he turns around and walks away. So that way you're not reinforcing the pulling and you're teaching your dog how to appropriately greet people. And I wouldn't make it super hard at 16 weeks. So just, like I said, a second, and then tell your dog that she can go greet. But you can work up to other things. Yeah, so Willow, Jade just stole Willie's toy. So now Willie's chasing her, and she doesn't even really care about the toys, but she likes to tease Willie. Oh, Gloria. No wonder I didn't know. I couldn't remember where you're from. So you are back from last week. Awesome. Okay. You might have to remind me where you're from again. If you come all the time, I will start to remember where you're from, and then I won't need to ask you. Okay. Brian, found a dead one in the bottom of my grill. Gross. They also like to get in the hot tub. Oh, that would be it for me. I would move. I'd have to move. I almost moved when this happened. I seriously was going to go live in a motel for a while, but it was bad. Yesterday, setting up for a garage sale, here comes a chipmunk. Not scared of me at all. Got him out of the garage before he got in the house. Yeah. I used to play guitar and sing for this kind of outdoor cowboy type thing. And it was kind of up in the mountains where we did it. And there was a squirrel that would literally come up and take M&Ms out of our hands. It was pretty cool. They weren't afraid of people at all. Okay, Willow. Actually, I would not use a prong collar or an e-collar. I am 100% against both of those. So, yeah, so I'm going to say no, that's not okay. I wouldn't use them at all. First of all, a prong collar can cause damage to a trachea of a dog. And the e-collar it's kind of, I was having this discussion yesterday with a friend of mine. So if the dog doesn't know what come means yet, and we put an e-collar on the dog and we say come and they don't come, so we shock them, that's kind of not fair to the dog because they're getting shocked for something that they don't know. They don't know how to do it. So, and just as far as speed, I just like to use more reinforcement. I start out with doing, just a regular sit, and then I might reward the fastest sit or the fastest come. So I raise criteria, but I will also raise the reinforcer. So like if you come really fast, like if you're like, I'll use Jade. Jade doesn't like to come because she's off sniffing. So if she comes slowly, I might just pet her and say, "Oh, good come, you finally came, good job." Whereas if she comes right when I say it, she is getting a reward. And she's probably getting 3 or 4 or 5 rewards because she came super fast. And I want to teach her, if you come fast, then you'll get really good reward. If you come at your own time frame, then I'll probably just pet you and tell you good job, but you're not going to get the jackpot. So yes, I would ditch the prong collar, ditch the e-collar. Let's see. Key, do you belong to this group? Are you talking about, so there's two, that brings up a good point. Pupford has, I think, 2 different pages. They have their regular Facebook page, and then they have their Perfect Pup in 30 Days, Zach George, private community, but you can ask to join. They have you answer some questions, and then they let you in. So I don't know if you're on that one. When I do these lives, it's streaming to Pupford's YouTube channel, their Perfect Pup page, and then their regular Pupford page. So yeah, you belong to at least one of them, I think, because you're here. So, but yeah, if you're interested in the Perfect Pup, Pupford also has like a community, so many benefits, like training videos. So like there's a whole course on barking, there's a whole course on reactive dog, there's a whole course on potty training, separation anxiety, leash walking. So just about anything you want, you can get through that. So I'm going to put the name of it in. And Zach George is, the famous dog trainer. He's the one that does the 30-day Perfect Pup course, and it's free. So you can get on. And, but yeah, for that one, you do have to be admitted, but you just get on and say, just answer the questions. You have to agree to only use positive reinforcement methods, stuff like that, and then you can be admitted. Yeah, so I do send out advance notice, but probably only on the Perfect Pup one. That's a Facebook page where I get on and answer questions. So I do put out something on Tuesdays, usually Tuesdays because I'm off Mondays. And I'm never really like all the way off, but I try not to get on my computer. So I usually do it on Tuesdays, and I'll put, it's either going to be, Wednesday at 7 or Thursday at 6. And I do change the time each week, just to accommodate West Coast, East Coast. So yeah, if you want to know when these are going to be on, they're probably always going to be on a Wednesday night or Thursday night. Probably for the next little while, they're going to be on Thursday because I have a class on Wednesday. But I usually start them at 5:30, 6:30, or 7. The majority of them are around 6:30ish, but then I'll throw in one a little bit early and one a little bit later. So yeah, you should get on the Perfect Pup Facebook page, get admitted, because that's where I put the day and time for the lives. Then I also get on about a half hour before we're going to start, and I put another reminder like, hey, just a reminder, live starts in 30 minutes. So yeah, you definitely need to get on that page. Gloria, Ohio. Yes, that's right. I'm going to save your little card from tonight so that I have it for next week. Willow, poor Willie. I know right now he's sitting under my chair. He's probably pouting. What you doing? Oh, did she take your toy? Did she take your toy? Jade is such the big older sister. She takes his toys. She doesn't let him get on the bed with her, although she just did, so I took a picture. But yeah, now she just took his toy. Okay, let me make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay. Oh, Anita came through West Florida, then crossed the state and went out to Atlantic, gained force, and will be coming back to hit the Carolinas. Oh my gosh, so scary. Key, you're like my husband. Strong wind is bad. Yes. I do not like wind. In fact, if it's really windy, if we have a storm coming in and it's really windy, I can't sleep. So I have to turn on a movie, and I can fall asleep to that, but it has to be loud enough to block out the wind, and then I can fall asleep. But with just the wind, I cannot sleep. And so Key, you brought up another good example or good question. So Pupford has this app. I think you can download it for like $1.99. Let's see if I can pull it up. I don't know, with the light, there might be a glare. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. But there's sounds at the bottom, and one of the sounds on here is wind. So you could actually get your Great Dane, or is that the dog's name, Dane? Anyway, doesn't matter. But you can start playing the wind sound at a really low volume, so almost that you can barely hear it. Oh, Willow, I have not done the drying yet. I will do that right after I answer this question. So you start with the sound, the wind sound, and as soon as your dog can barely hear it, you start dropping treats. And then when the sound stops, the treats stop. And if your dog was able to handle that, then usually what I do is I will, when I say 2 clicks, that's the volume on my phone. So I'll go 1, 2, turn it up a little bit more, and repeat. Now, if you get to a point where your dog cowers or barks or is afraid, then you back down on the volume. But as long as your dog can stay calm, wind sound equals treats, and then no wind equals no treats. So we want the dog to actually think, oh, I wish it would get windy so I could have treats. If somebody gave me $1,000 every time it was windy, I might actually start to like the wind. And the $1,000 could help me build a stronger house and a better roof so that I don't have to worry about everything blowing off. Okay, let's do a drawing. And then I will come back and answer I'm going to go back and address Willow's about the prong and the e-collar, because I'm going to say no all the time. I'll never say yes to an e-collar or a prong collar. And even if it doesn't shock, even let's say you do the vibrate or the beep, if the dog thinks that's aversive, if it's scary to the dog, causes them to shut down, it's still an aversive. I don't care if it doesn't shock, it's still an aversive, and it can still have the same effect. So the humans don't get to decide what's aversive, but the dogs do. So even if we think, oh, vibrate doesn't hurt at all, or the beep, like there's no pain, but if to your dog it's like that's something bad, then it's going to have the same effect to the dog as a shock. And yeah, so let me do a drawing, and then I'm going to tell you about an experience when I worked at the rescue. And I don't know what a star mark collar is, so I can't answer that one because I don't know what that is. I could hurry and look it up. Okay, let me mix all these up and draw. And tonight is Brian. Brian, you won. So congratulations, Brian. You know the drill. Hello at Pupford.com. Let them know what kind of treats you want. And congrats. Hopefully this will make up for having to deal with mice. So yeah, if somebody gave me $1,000 every time I had a mouse, I wouldn't hate them so bad. But then I could just afford to buy more mouse traps. Okay, so Willow, when I worked at the rescue, bye Brian, Renee, thanks for coming. See you, Bill. And I'm happy to still stay on and answer questions. So you guys don't have to leave, but if you do need to leave, I understand. So when I started in the rescue, they had prong collars that somebody had donated. And so they wanted me to use them because they didn't want to make this volunteer feel bad when she had bought all these prong collars and donated them. And I said, I'm not going to use them. I don't believe in them. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to use them. And I noticed that the staff had them, before I got rid of them all, the dogs were still pulling. So the dogs were pulling and choking through the prong collar. So it didn't always work anyway. And it's kind of the same thing where I like to teach leash walking without the use of aversives, because let's say you forget your prong collar or your e-collar, or it breaks or something happens. It's good to have a dog that knows how to walk nicely on leash. And there's other equipment that I like much better, like the Freedom harness, front clip harness. Sometimes I have gone to head harnesses like the Nutrix or Canine Bridle, because it doesn't squeeze the nose. It just applies pressure, like pressure points here, and the dog wants to lean back. So, but it doesn't hurt them or shut them down or scare them or anything like that. So I took this volunteer donor and showed her how the dogs were still pulling with the prong collars, but then they were just choking and it was digging into them. And then I got like a Nutrix and put them on that. And these were the really strong dogs. I picked 2 pit bulls that were the strongest dogs we had. And then I showed her how I could walk these dogs with 1 finger on the leash. Now, normally I don't do this. It was just to prove a point. But once she saw that, she's like, oh, yeah, get rid of all those. I'll buy. And she bought these other head halters that we would use for some of the stronger dogs that were pulling staff over, and it worked great. So we did not have to use the prong collars. But yeah, I mean, and I think if a dog's going to pull it, no matter where you place it, it could be aversive and it could harm them. So yeah, I'll never say okay to an e-collar or prong collar. I'm sorry. But yeah, not going to happen. And also, I've had such good success teaching dogs how to walk nicely on leash, including German Shepherds, including My pit bulls, my very first pit bull almost broke my hand. He pulled so hard. And so I've been able to, and Willow, if you want my loose leash walking handout, email me and I'm happy to send it to you. But yeah, the learner, this is a good point for everybody. The learner gets to decide what's aversive. So even if we say, well, it doesn't really shock, it just vibrates or it just beeps, we don't get to decide what's aversive, the dog does. So, yeah, I still wouldn't use it, but I never will. So, okay, let's see. Oh, it looks like that's all of our questions too. So, okay, well, thanks for joining everybody, and congratulations, Brian. And we'll see you guys next week. It will be on Thursday, probably at 6. But I will post it. Oh, Kirsten, yeah, email me. So anybody that wants any of the handouts that I talk about, email me at tracy@pupford.com, and I will email them to you. I'll send them to you. I'm fine totally sharing that. And I know that Pupford also has some courses on loose leash walking, because I filmed it. I've done so many for them now, I can't remember which ones I've done, but I'm pretty sure we've done one on leash walking. So yeah, but you're welcome to my handouts. So you guys stay safe. If you're in the line of the hurricane, please stay safe. Have a great week, and I will see y'all next week.